Hello guys, welcome to Tariq's class. We're going to start at 2 o'clock in 5 minutes. Welcome to the class, guys. How you doing? How's everything? Hi. All right. Hello. Umme Anushka. Okay. It's probably Isha, right? Yeah. Hello, Tenzin. Welcome to the class. Can you guys see the passage properly? The reading comprehension that we're able to read in memory revolution. Okay. It's good. Hello, Jenny. And Jenna. Hi, Ada. How are you? All right, guys. It's 2 o'clock, so we're going to start the class. Okay, so first we're going to do one comprehension together. It's like a daily practice. So let's start working on it. I'm going to show you the tricks. First, let's see how to read. We've learned it, but I'm just going to review it. So a memory revolution. A high school senior logs onto a computer at the library to double check the application due date. listed on a college admission website. Nearby, a librarian helps a group of biology students use a database to search for recent studies about mammals. In the past few decades, the internet has become an integral component of daily life for many people. Okay, this is where we're going to take a pause. So this is the first paragraph, so we're going to go slow. It's like driving in a local and a highway. In local, you drive slow. So first paragraph, we're going to drive very slow, take our time to understand what's going on. Do not rush. So first of all, they said some high school senior doing something, then they said the librarian doing something else. And then they spoke about internet has become an integral component of daily life. So you understand, so they're going to talk about internet that became an important part of daily life. Okay, we get it so far. Now, the seemingly limitless power of search engines made the internet search extremely common, and today people increasingly rely on internet's vast accumulation of sources to access all types of information. Okay, what are the two keywords here? Who can tell me on this line? We're going to learn what are the keywords you should focus at and what you shouldn't focus at. So give me two keywords to understand what this sentence is about. Just from here, the seemingly limitless power of search engines made the internet search extremely common, and today people increasingly rely on the internet's vast accumulation of sources to access all types of information. So in this long sentence, just give me two keywords that are important to understand what's going on. You can type it on the comments. I'm waiting. Brishti, you should tell me. Yeah, rely is one of them. Very good, Jenna. So rely here. What is the other one? Okay, search engine. Okay, but I'm looking for something else. So something about internet. So people relying on the internet, and what else there? Information. Okay. Go for more. Good. Somebody's not gardening. Vishti is working. Good. All types of information. Okay. How about extremely common? So two things. Internet is extremely common and people relying on it. Done. Okay. So that's what they're trying to tell me. Okay, so now let's continue. Scientists are beginning to examine how this reliance, you see this reliance, we just talked about the relying is modifying the strategies people use to store and prioritize information in their mind. What are the two keywords here? This reliance, what is it happening? It's modifying, of course, it's changing. Modifying means changing, but what is changing? Tell me. There can be more than two keywords. Tell me all the keywords, like 2 to 3. I'm seeing 3. Strategies, modifying the strategies. That's one of them. Strategies. Remember, modifying the strategies. The main word, the strategy, is good. You guys understood. The strategy is a very strong keyword here. So what is changing? The strategy. Of strategy of what? There are more keywords. How people is to store and prioritize information. Storing information, like remembering or saving it on a computer. Prioritizing means what they focus at more. Okay, good job. Very good, Faujia Bishti. Very good. Now, what happens is, so if you look back into the first paragraph, so the main important thing when you're going to read, you're going to see, okay, some school senior doing something, a librarian is doing something, then they connected to internet being a common thing, and then it's extremely common and people relying on it. And this is actually changing, this reliance is changing the strategies of how people store or prioritize things. Done. So we took out the main components of the paragraph so you understand it very well. Any question about the first paragraph? Okay, none. All right, let's continue. The second one, psychologist. Now they're talking about a dependable and valuable asset. Let's see what is a dependable and valuable asset is. So a psychologist, Benjamin Storm from the University of California, Santa Cruz, and researchers Sean, Stone, and Aaron, and all these people devised an experiment. So this is an experiment to study students' tendency to depend on the internet for facts. So what are they experimenting for? What is important here? Keywords. So it's experimenting, all these people, the name is not important. So what is important? What are they actually experimenting? Okay. Say somebody. What are they trying to experiment? They study. Students' dependency on internet for what? Depending for? So tendency, this word tendency to depend, right? So students, we know of course we're studying the students, but what are the students doing? That's the main important part. Their tendency to depend on the internet for facts. So any facts they want to look, they go back to internet. To begin, the scientists divided 60 participants into multiple groups, including an internet group and a memory group. Here important is there's an internet group and the memory group. And placed them in front of a computer. Now the internet group was required to use search engine, Google, to search answers 8 challenging trivia questions. So they get to use Google, the internet group. In contrast, participants in the memory group were permitted to use only their personal knowledge to answer the question. So important part is 2 groups, one using Google, another not using personal knowledge. Done. In the second round, the researchers administered notably easier questions. Okay, so before that it was like more challenging questions, now easier questions. Now this time they allowed each group the option of using Google as they answered. So now the second round, they both can use Google. Now their results showed that 83% of the internet group continued to consult Google in the second round. So this time, remember, it's very easier, much easier questions. Still 83% of the internet group, they used Google, even though it was easier. While only 63% of the memory group chose to do so. Okay, the second round, both group had internet access. So those who rely on internet, the 83% of them, not everybody, the 83% of them used Google even for the easy questions. But those who had internet access, like the participants without internet access, this time they got the access for they can use Google. Still 63% of the memory group chose to do so. Not everybody did. Okay, so that was just a research. Do you understand the research? Any question about the research? What happened? All right. Okay, next, let's see what happened next. So second paragraph 2 was about research. Now, people's growing inclination to rely on internet in order to retrieve information, particularly facts and figures, is called cognitive offloading. Okay, this is of course, very important word. So what does this mean? So people, when they rely on internet in order to retrieve information, particularly facts and figures. So instead of relying on their brain to memory, they rely on internet. What is this called? Cognitive offloading. They probably like offloading, take out the load from the head and put it into the computer. Canadian researcher Ivan and British researcher Sam, who have written extensively about the topic, say a similar process has been taking place for centuries. They're saying this is not new. It's not just internet. This process has been happening for centuries. In the past, people used resources like encyclopedia to assist their memory. What does this assisting memory means? To remember things, right? Good. Now, however, today the internet serving as a vast extended memory allows people to digitally access and retrieve much larger volume of information. Consequently, people's minds are free for other cognitive feats, such as connecting data, learning new information, or solving problems. So before, they used to use encyclopedia. Now they use internet. So that's it. So you understand the 3 paragraphs? Yeah? All right, so we're gonna move. Oh, sorry, there was a problem, my bad. Yeah. Good. Sorry about it. Yeah, I just did. Take a look back. I'm just gonna quickly show it. So a vast extended memory allows people to digitally access and retrieve much larger volumes of the information. Consequently, people's mind are free and such as connecting data, learning new information. So technically, they now rely on internet more to remember things, like they save it out. Okay, so we're going to continue now. Filling information away. Now we're going to speed up a bit, so I want you to pay attention. So the use of internet also appears to be modifying the strategies people use to store information in their mind. So it's modifying the strategies people use to keep information. Researchers Betsy from Columbia University and Jenny from the University of Wisconsin and Daniel and all these people conducted several studies to discover how people efficiently manage their information intake. So they're just researching how people take information. It's not a big deal. Now, to begin, the researchers examined how people evaluate which information deserves their effort to remember. Which one deserves their effort? So sometimes, when I'm teaching, in my class, sometimes you think, what? It's not deserving to put your efforts, right? Right or no? This is to see if you're paying attention or not. All right, I see you didn't pay attention. Look, so the researchers examined how people evaluate which information deserves their effort to remember. If the information is deserved to be remembered, that's the first thing. For the experiments, participants read 40 trivia facts, such as an ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain, and typed the statement into a computer file. So they just 40 facts, they typed it in, and half the participants had been previously told the file would be saved. So half of them are like, oh, don't worry, you'll be able to save it. Well, half believed it would be erased. Now the participants, now you can even imagine those who thought it's gonna be saved, they're not gonna remember it because they think it's just saved, I'll just find it later. Those who thought it's going to be erased, they're probably going to be like, oh, okay, I should remember this. The participant wrote down every fact they could recall. Those who believed the information would be erased and no longer available, they could recall 40% more facts than those who thought it would be saved. Now, in other experiment, the same researchers tested the ability of study participants to remember where to access information. Now this time, where to access information. The last paragraph was about like if they were gonna save it or not. This one is the location, where it will be saved. For this trial, participants read and type trivia statements, which they saved in folders with generic names such as facts and items. So they just saved the information. After spending 10 minutes writing down all the facts they could recall from memory, participants were asked which folder contains a particular fact based on a keyword. For example, which folder has the facts about ostriches? Overall, participants recalled the information locations more often than the content itself. They don't remember the content, but they could remember where they saved it, which folder. Correctly identifying 49% of the folders for specific facts while remembering only 23% of the actual trivia. So they don't remember information much. If they know where it is saved, that's more important for them. The researchers concluded that our memory is adapting to the internet age by prioritizing where to locate information even where the specific details are forgotten. According to Sparrow, the internet has become an important form of transactive memory, an external source of recollections and associative networks and constitute memory. So what are the keywords in this paragraph, the last sentence? Okay. No one? The question I'm asking is, what are the keywords for this sentence, the last one, where it says, according to the Sparrow, the internet has become an important form of transactive memory, an external source. So it's an external source of the recollections and associative networks that constitute the memory. So it's an external source. So internal source would be your own brain to remember things, but external would be, relying on other things. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Listen to this very carefully. So the question is, so this passage, we read it so far, right? So the author, the writer, so what does he believe? Does he believe that internet is a bad thing, negative thing, or a positive thing? What does he believe? Positive or negative? So I will say the tone of the passage, is it positive or negative so far? Positive. Okay. So positive means he's taking a side. He thinks internet is a good thing. Negative means he thinks internet is a bad thing. So what is he doing? Everybody saying positive. But I read the passage. I didn't hear him saying anything good about internet. He's just saying the facts that people are just relying on it. So he didn't say if it is good or bad. So is he really positive about the passage? I give you another chance. Neutral, yeah. Good job. It's neutral. Neutral in a sense that he doesn't take any side. He's just explaining what's going on. So now, as the internet's resource continue to expand our external memory, some questions whether the process may cause people depend heavily on the technology. Now this is coming. Some is questioning that if they're depending too heavily on technology. However, Stephen Pinker, a professor of psychology at Harvard, says, knowledge is increasing exponentially. Human brain power and waking hours are not. Fortunately, the internet and information technologies are helping us manage search and retrieve and collective intellectual output at different scales, from Twitter and preview to ebooks and online encyclopedias. Far from making us stupid, these technologies are the only thing that will keep us smart. So now this is becoming positive. Oh, sorry, I forgot to scroll down. Okay, how come you guys don't remind me before? Yeah, thank you for reminding. Looks like you guys are paying attention. Good. Okay, now, yeah, what I was just reading that, this some researcher from Harvard University, he said that it's helping us. So up until paragraph 6, there was no, it was being unbiased, means no picking a side. But paragraph 7 is the only time when they picked a side, and it shows positivity of having the access to internet. Well, let's take a look at this diagram, how memory works. You guys should understand this very well and implement it in your SHSAT as well. For example, when you get a new information, let's say, I just taught you something. It gets into your memory if you're paying attention. Those who are not paying attention, it's not going to get into your memory. Now, but there will be a short-term memory. Just because you paid attention doesn't mean you're going to remember forever. It'll be a short-term memory. How to make it into a long-term memory? From short-term to long-term, it's called rehearsal. Means practice over and over again. If it is unrehearsed, what happens? Forgotten. Good. And if you rehearse it, then you can make it into a long-term memory. Some information may be even forgotten over time, but you have to keep rehearse. And sometimes it becomes short-term memory over time as well if you don't practice. So practice, practice, practice. All right, so you get an idea about the passage. I'm just going to quickly say, in the beginning, first paragraph, and then all. So I will give you one question at a time. So it says, now how to answer questions. So we're going to have to connect the keywords. Question number 10 says, the details in paragraph 3 about cognitive offloading convey a central idea of the passage. So what are the keywords of this question? Yeah, if you want to read fast and understand, it's practice, tons of practice, and focus. When you're focusing like 100%, instead of thinking left and right, and you start reading, and then after reading a line, you're looking left and right, what is my friend is doing, this and that, it's not going to work. So you have to focus like an eagle, a hawk, focusing into its prey. Like full focus and fast in speed then, of course. So let's do this. The details in paragraph 3. What are the two important keywords here? You see, paragraph 3 is about cognitive offloading, and it has to connect to central idea. Okay? Let's go to paragraph 3. Remember, paragraph 3 says, people's growing inclination to rely on the internet in order to retrieve information, particularly facts and all this, is called cognitive offloading. So cognitive offloading means they relying on internet more than their brain. Let's see how does it help the central idea. Remember, it has to connect to the central idea, otherwise it's not going to work. So E says, suggesting that reliance on the internet for information is inevitable. So they didn't say anything about being inevitable, means you cannot avoid it. F, demonstrating how the methods used to store and find information have changed over time. Okay, explaining how encyclopedias and the internet are similar sources of information. They're not showing similarity that, encyclopedias, they're similar. Implying that more information can be understood now than ever before. So what is the answer, F or H? F, that's correct. This is demonstrating the method, how method used to store and find information, it changed. Now it became cognitive offloading. Before it wasn't. So, and H is just talking about how we can more than ever. This is too extreme. right? Let's go to the next one, number 11. How do the details about the experiment described in paragraph 5 convey a central idea? So again, paragraph 5, central idea, the experiment. So if you want to see it, paragraph 5, I'm just going to quickly remind you, it was about the researchers, some knew it would be saved and other believed it would be erased. So now let's come back. How do the details about the experiment described in paragraph 5 convey the central idea? A says they suggest that the act of repeating information by typing it on a keyboard may improve a person's memory. Okay. Keyboard? That's not the case. B, they explained that a person will forget information faster if the information is considered unimportant. Did they say about important, unimportant in paragraph 5? Paragraph 5 was like if it is going to be saved or not saved. So B is up. So between C and D, what do you think is the answer for 11? D. Whether D says that memory is affected by whether a person expect to have access. So it means if they think it is saved and they can have access later, they will go for that. Yeah, good job. D is the answer. Okay, try number 12. Tell me the answer for number 12. As the internet's resources continue to expand our external memory, some question whether the process may cause people to depend too heavily on technology. So it's from paragraph 7. So how does the sentence contribute to the sentence, the structure and development of the ideas? Remember, structure and developments. What is the answer for number 12? Man, this thing. Sorry about that noise. There are two different windows, so yeah. You should all understand this one. This one is easy. Number 12, we talked about it. Anyone? For 12, what should be the answer? You can be wrong, this way just say it, no worries. G, yeah. You see, it's just from neutral viewpoint. Now it's presenting an argument or like something. It's shifting from neutral. Up until paragraph 7, it wasn't neutral. It was like all about just, remember, structure and development. The structure was what? Before it was, unbiased, didn't pick a side, neutral. But now they picked a side, they said this is good. Good job. Okay, now try 13. The study described in paragraph 6 influenced researchers' idea about memory in the digital age by highlighting. Okay, so 13, give it an answer. Good job, Tenzin. The study described in paragraph 6 influenced researchers' ideas about memory in the digital age. Okay, paragraph 6 was about what? So first of all, what are the keywords? So paragraph 6 influenced researchers' ideas about memory. Researchers' ideas, it has to be about memory. Influencing researchers' ideas. That's what we're looking for. Paragraph 6 is here. In another experiment, the same researchers had the ability to study participants to remember where to access information. For this trial, participants read, it's like, this time they knew where, the location. It's about like where it's going to be saved, where to access. Paragraph 5 was whether it is going to be saved or not. Paragraph 6 is where it's going to be saved. So, highlighting instances when organizing detailed information made it easier to remember. Number 13 should be what? Give me an answer for question 13. Okay. C, everybody's saying C. It says C says identifying a shift in focus from remembering specific information, knowing where to find it. You see? Where to find it. This is the main thing. So paragraph 6 was about where. Good. Now let's try 14. Which evidence from the passage is most relevant to the claim in paragraph 7 that far from making us stupid, these technologies are more the only thing that will keep us smart. So paragraph 7 is the last paragraph where they think it's helping. They're picking a side that it's a really good thing. It's far from making us stupid, it's actually making us smart. So what are the keywords here? Which evidence from the passage most relevant? So which one's showing that it's a smart thing, not a stupid thing? Pick the answer for 14. It's between F or G. Yeah, that's correct. 14 is going to be between F or G. But F says, let's see, which one talks about more that it's becoming smart? G says the connection between how people organize information in their mind and the ability to recall that information. Okay, so organizing and recalling. And F says the assertion that the storage of information on the internet frees people to focus on higher order. Okay, F is saying more positive. G is talking about more like what you can do, but F is what showing positivity. So F is the answer. Good job, guys. Very good. All right. 15. Try 15. Which sentence from the passage suggests that using internet search engines may lead people to rely less on their own ability to recall information? So what are the keywords for 15? Tell me that first in the question. What are the keywords? Main keywords that 95% of the students won't see. Only 5% sees the keywords. What are the keywords? For question 15, give me the keywords. Rely, okay, there are multiple keywords. Which sentence from the passage suggests that using internet search engines may lead people. So using the internet search engines, right, may lead people to rely less on their own ability. So these are the main keywords, So using this internet search, so keyword doesn't mean that what sounds important. Of course, which sentence from the passage suggests. Of course, we're going to know one of these sentences. So there's nothing important about it. Using internet, of course, using what? We know internet, but the word that, what about internet? Like taking information, looking into it, using it. So using internet search engine, of course, these words are not running away. The important thing is you have to see using these things, leading people rely less on abilities. So which one of the sentence showing that relying less on own ability? What is the answer? Yeah, C is the answer because it showed that 83% of the internet group continue to Google. That means they are relying less on their own ability, even though the questions were easy. Remember, the easy questions, still they did it. And 63% chose to rely on internet, even though last time they didn't have access. So C is showing strong data that now people rely less on their own memory. They rely more on Google or internet search engines. Very good, guys. Good job. You did very well. Continue. 16. Remember, we have to work very hard. Test is coming soon. It cannot be lazy at this time. 16. Practice. 16. Try question 16. The effect of the internet on a person's memory is illustrated in the passage through the presentation of studies. What are the keywords? Tell me for 16. Keywords from the question. Okay, the effect of the internet on the person's memory. Effect on memory is illustrated in the passage through presentation of studies. So effect on person's memory, right? So the effect of internet on person's memory. What kind of effect? So which one's showing some sort of affecting the memories? Tell me the answer. He says, examine how the use of search engines changes the way people evaluate and store information for the future access. Yeah, this one is a nice one. Let's see who can get it right. Which ones are out? We can eliminate, easily. F says highlight the difference between the capacity of internet and the ability of the human brain to locate information. They didn't say anything about the ability to human brain to locate information. Where did you get this part from? Compare the type of information that can be obtained from the internet. Type of information? This type of information doesn't matter. Emphasize the ease of obtaining information through search engines rather than remembering it without assistance. Now, between E and H, what do you think is better answer? F has a problem. Ability of the human brain to locate information. They didn't talk about this. So, yeah. So now, between E and H, what could be the answer? E says examine how the use of search engines changes the way people evaluate and store information on future access. Yeah, that could be a effect on memory. now they can have access, future access, and that's why they don't remember this. Yeah, they talked about it. E. Very good, guys. Now, the last question of the day. We're not gonna have time to do the poem, but I'm just gonna put this poem. I was about to do it, but we're gonna run out of time another day. Just try it. The question 17. Yeah, the H has a problem emphasizing the ease. It doesn't share how easy it is of obtaining information through search engines rather than remembering it. The word ease is a problem. Like they didn't show anything about being ease. Until paragraph 7, they didn't say anything positive. They were just neutral. The ease or not ease, it doesn't matter. Get it? It's not just the ease. Now, if the people know that we can store it, their brain will just be like, okay, you know what? There's no point of remembering it. Like, for example, that reading comprehension, we know that when we're answering the questions, we have access to the reading comprehension, so we don't have to memorize it, we can go back to it. All right, the last question I want all of you to focus. 17, how does the diagram provide additional support for the topic presented in the passage? So it's about the diagram. So the keyword is, it has to be about the diagram. Provide additional support for the topic in the passage. So how is diagram supporting the topic? Let's see who can get the answer. This one is the last one. Come on, guys. So the diagram showed anything about being important? What diagram? You guys don't forget the diagram? Let me show you. So diagram shows anything about being important, unimportant? Yeah, diagram didn't show anything about being important. It's just talking about the short-term memory, long-term memory, rehearsal, storage done. It's not about important, unimportant. The passage talked about many things. So, but this is talking about, especially it has to be from diagram relating to the topic. If it is not on the diagram, that's not going to be the answer. So C is out. It's not about important, unimportant. What can be the answer then? A cannot be answered, like why human brain must adapt to this. This is extreme. They must do it or not. They didn't say any, like they're not forcing anybody that you must adapt. B, it indicates how people can use the internet to help improve their long-term recollection. D said it depicts the idea that repetition or rehearsal, did I see these words into the diagram? Are necessary to recall information when tools or such as search engines are unavailable. Yeah, if it is unavailable, they will need that. Yeah, so D is the better answer. That's it for today, guys. Good job. Thank you for paying attention. So this is how you practice, So I was doing it together, so that's why I read it slow and dissecting it part by part. But you have to be extremely fast reader, fluent, and understanding, taking information at the same time in your head. As you know, the test is coming up soon. Right after the summer is your test. So this is your time, because after that in September school opens, you won't be able to study. So now it's the time to work really, really hard. This test is going to be hard. It's not an easy task. So don't take it lightly. Good job, guys. You guys paid attention. Good job. Thank you very much, Brishti, for joining the class. And everybody else, of course. Who else is here? Tenzin, Ishal, Jana, Ida, King. All right, thank you very much. Yeah, golden, yeah. Thank you. Have a good day, guys. Bye.